Hi, class. This is Ryan Cernasek again, and I've been asked to come on today to speak to you about discipline distributed out by the board in the state of Texas in regards to counselors violating ethics. And what it's asked me to do is to get online and look at the state of Texas and to look at the disciplines of counselors and my personal reaction to this list of reading it. And I have to say that when I first saw looking at the list of counselor infractions and the discipline that the state board dished out for that, I was quite surprised that there weren't more issues in regarding to sexual conduct or to maintaining boundaries or to failure to comply with general ethics. There were some of those, but majority of the offenses or violations that they dealt with were dealing with billing as well as with paperwork violations, what I describe as paperwork violations. They related to the voluntary surrendering of a license, failure to provide the required supervision, supervising interns without board approval. Another one was relating to billing, relating to failure to report previously disciplinary actions. So it looked to me like it was more of paperwork type issues than that were major infractions, which are still ethical violations, obviously. But my first reaction in looking at all these was about the fact that I'm a very OCD type person, and that I could not understand or fathom not being able to follow basic guidelines of filing the correct paperwork or the correct billing issues with the client. So that was my first gut reaction to the situation of what I saw. Now it asked me to go and find a particular case, and I found one involving a counselor by the last name of Bell. And in 2007, she was indicted by a federal grand jury in Lubbock, Texas, for defrauding Medicaid in the tune of $640,000. What she was doing was she was taking clients' Medicaid numbers and the Medicaid numbers of family members of those clients and billing Medicaid for services that she never rendered to those particular clients. And in fact, in July of 2017, or 2007, excuse me, she was actually sentenced to 51 months in prison, and she was ordered to pay restitutions in the amount of over $404,000 for her involvement in the case. This, to me, was a sign that that Miss Bell violated ethical codes, as well as basically breaking the ACA's preamble, number 5 in the preamble, of practicing in a competent and ethical manner. The ACA does not specifically say do not bill Medicaid incorrectly, but it does say that we're supposed to act competently in an ethical manner. And I also believe that she also violated the professional ethical behavior of veracity, which means that we have to deal truthfully with individuals with whom we counsel or come in professional contact with. And by not doing what she was supposed to do in those two instances is ultimately what got her in trouble. Now, if you look at the state of Texas, she actually broke Texas Occupational Code, Subchapter B, Section 53021, which gives the authority to the Texas Board to revoke, suspend, or deny a license based on ethical misconduct. And in fact, that's what the board ultimately did. They revoked her license or took her license completely away, which in my opinion was a very good move by the board. Obviously, if you are going to defraud Medicaid or defraud even a client over a small amount of money or upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars, as Ms. Bell did, then that has no business being in the counseling profession whatsoever. The final thing that the prompt asks us to do is to look at impairment. Now, impairment is basically being impaired either by substance or chemical abuse, a mental illness, a personal crisis, or a physical illness. Those are the 4 factors of being impaired. And the ACA has a number of different things about impairment, whether you look at Section A1, subsection A, that we're supposed to promote the welfare of a client at all times, or Section F5B, which says students and supervisees monitor themselves for signs of impairment for their own physical, mental, or emotional problems and refrain from offering or providing professional services when such impairment is likely to harm the client or others. If you're impaired either by substance abuse, mental illness, personal crisis, or physical illness, it's your duty as a counselor to take a step back and to not continue to provide aid to a client. My question would be is that I understand that when you have chemical abuse or physical abuse or mental abuse, mental illness, that those sorts of things are easy to detect from a superior or even from oneself. But my question would be, who would determine the personal crisis? Who would determine if you have a personal crisis that would permit you to not allow you to help another individual? So I look forward to you, class, answering that question for me, and give me some insight as to what your opinions are on who would determine if you had a personal crisis and if that would deter you from being able to provide competent counseling services to a client. Thank you so much. Hope you all have a blessed day.